Saya sentiasa akan pastikan peralatan elektrik, elektronik serta penghawa dingin dipadamkan sebelum saya menutup studio dan balik ke rumah. Anda pasti boleh. Jadilah bijak tenaga.
Welcome to News at 10. I'm Brendan Paul, making the headlines tonight. King and Premier meeting discusses matter of administration and government issues. Also, King decrees attention to early warning floods system. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob has left Istana Negara after his audience with Yang di-Pertuan Agong Sultan Abdullah Riyatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah at 4:45 p.m. today. According to a statement released by Istana Negara, the meeting discusses matters of administration and issues related to the government. The meeting was a weekly routine customarily done by the Prime Minister to discuss cabinet matters prior to the cabinet meeting with the King. Earlier, at another location, the Premier said matters related to the dissolution of Parliament would be discussed during his audience with the Yang di-Pertuan Agong only if time permits.
Tak pasti lagi nak bawa ke tak bawa, tak pasti lagi. Ya, kalau bincang hal kabinet panjang sangat, pasal kabinet je lah. Kita tengoklah. Kalau dah bincang sampai maghrib nanti, tak sempatlah bincang hal lain.
Issues related to the dissolution of the Parliament was also raised in the Dewan Rakyat today. Deputy Speaker of the Dewan Rakyat, Datuk Ramli Mohamad Noor, has asked all members of Parliament to stop making speculations on the matter. Commenting further on the matter, Datuk Ramli said the focus of all MPs should be directed towards carrying out their responsibilities as the elected representatives of the people.
Sebab pembubaran ni masih sebagaimana Tan Sri Speaker menyatakan is still speculation, ya. Dan apa yang telah dinyatakan oleh Yang Berhormat itu, kita akan teruskan seperti biasa, Dewan berjalan sehingga the right time, the moment comes.
The Deputy Speaker was speaking in response to questions asked by Seputih MP Teresa Kok and Jelutong MP RSN Raya. Yang di-Pertuan Agong Sultan Abdullah Riyatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah wants the Ministry of Environment and Water to pay attention to the disaster early warning system in preparation for floods. The King also decreed that attention should be given to the process of distributing aid and assistance to the people if disasters occur. His Majesty also wanted coordination in terms of assistance between National Disaster Management Agency or NADMA and other agencies to avoid confusion and to ensure that all aid and assistance really reach the victims. His Majesty said this after being briefed on the year-end weather and flood situation at the National Flood Forecasting and Warning Centre, PRABN, today. The briefing also includes the presentation on the latest situation of COVID-19 and the preparations made by the Ministry of Health in facing the flood season, including the deployment of healthcare workers to the temporary relief centres and a contingency plan if the public health facilities were also inundated by flood waters. Meanwhile, NADMA is confident that any natural disaster that might occur during the monsoon season this year could be handled effectively through several improvements implemented. Elaborating further on the matter, Minister in the Prime Minister's Department for Special Functions, Datuk Dr. Haji Abdul Latif bin Ahmad, said the improvements were made based on the past experience of dealing with disasters on the unexpected scale.
tahun ini dia di peringkat APM yang kita baru saja melantik MRO untuk enjin dan juga body boat lah. Jadi dengan adanya penyelenggaraan yang berskala, preventif dan juga korektif, saya yakin peralatan-peralatan ini bila kita seragamkan, bomba, PDRM, Angkatan Tentera Malaysia, APMM dan juga APM, berserta dengan komitmen daripada NGO lah, terutamanya NGO tempatan. Ini akan membantu memantapkan tahap kesiapsiagaan sewaktu kita berhadapan dengan monsun timur laut.
He added that Natma also gave assurance that the safety and welfare of the people will remain as their top priority should general election is called during the monsoon season. The Public Works Department, JKR, will continue to monitor high-risk sloped areas as a precautionary measure to observe any early signs of landslides during the monsoon season. Deputy Works Minister Dato' Arthur Joseph said this is to ensure the safety of people in the vicinity of the high-risk areas as well as road users.
Bagi kawasan yang telah menunjukkan tanda-tanda akan berlaku runtuhan, JKR akan menutup jalan dan akan memasang serta menyediakan pengurusan trafik di tapak pembinaan bagi mengelakkan sebarang kejadian yang tidak diingini berlaku di kawasan tersebut. JKR juga bersedia dari segi logistik sekiranya berlaku runtuhan dengan menutup kawasan runtuhan tersebut menggunakan kanvas sebelum kerja-kerja pembaikan dilaksanakan di kawasan runtuhan.
With less than 24 hours to go, the tabling of Budget 2023, scheduled for 4 p.m. tomorrow, is ready for a go. The tabling is scheduled to be presented by Finance Minister Tengku Datuk Seri Zafrul Tengku Abdul Aziz in Dewan Rakyat at 4 p.m. tomorrow. Earlier today, Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob went to the Finance Ministry to oversee the final preparation process. In his visit today, Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri met with Ministry of Finance officials involved in the preparation of Budget 2023 and inspected the Budget Preparation Operation Room. The Premier was welcomed by Minister Tengku Datuk Seri Zafrul Tengku Abdul Aziz and his two deputies, Datuk Muhammad Shah Abdullah and Datuk Yamani Hafiz Musa.
Kebanyakan mereka ni dah 3 minggu tidur di kementerian ini kerana menyediakan bajet sehingga tengah malam dan sebagainya. Jadi saya datang jumpa mereka sendiri untuk mengucapkan terima kasih.
Minister of Communications and Multimedia Tan Sri Anwar Musa today clarified to Dewan Rakyat over confusion on 5G connectivity percentage in major towns. Tan Sri Anwar said the access percentage that was targeted to reach 40% by the end of the year was in reference to the provision of infrastructure by Digital Nasional Berhad DNB.
Jadi saya faham apabila setengah orang kita kata dah ada 5G di Kuala Lumpur dan sebagainya, tapi kenapa kita belum terima? Sebenarnya belum sampai ke tahap itu. Peratusan yang diberikan itu ialah apa yang telah disyaratkan kepada DNB untuk menyediakan prasarana di beberapa lokasi, sekarang ini 2,000 lebih lokasi yang telah pun disiapkan. Tetapi servis kepada orang ramai itu perlu dilaksanakan oleh syarikat-syarikat telco yang mempunyai lesen yang 6 itu tadi.
He said this in response to a supplementary question from Ledang Member of Parliament Syed Ibrahim Syed Noh, who wanted an explanation on the percentage of 5G access in major towns, as many have yet to enjoy the facility, especially in Petaling Jaya. Tan Sri Anwar added the delay for 5G access services to consumers was because only 4 of the 6 telco companies that were offered had agreed to take up the stake in DNB. Coming up next, Meranti Park Master Plan helps Malaysia prepare for industrial revolution. Stay with us.
do we tell you stories?
Relevant,
New,
efficient,
accurate.
reliable. We bring you extraordinary stories from around the world, from politicians, bankers, and even your favorite celebrities. This and many more on RTM's English News. The news at 10. The new Meranti Park Master Plan will spur Malaysia's capability to face the fourth industrial revolution, or IR 4.0. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said the master plan will focus on the latest technology, ranging from Internet of Things, IoT, Internet Protocol, IP, services and laboratories, to contract manufacturing facilities with advanced technology.
Taman Meranti ini dilengkapi dengan infrastruktur moden, termasuk jalur lebar berkelajuan tinggi dan teknologi 5G, serta insentif dan peluang pembiayaan juga direka untuk menarik golongan profesional muda serta mewujudkan laluan yang stabil bagi bakat berkemahiran tinggi. Ia dijangka dapat mencipta lebih 8,000 peluang pekerjaan baru. Dan ini adalah berita baik untuk seluruh keluarga Malaysia.
The Premier added that 5 technology clusters, namely drone technology, agriculture, health, bioscience and IR 4.0 enablers, are currently being developed at the park with an estimated gross development value of 20 billion ringgit. These technology clusters are expected to bring a return of 2.8 billion ringgit through land leases by Meranti to investors.
Usaha ini akan dipacu Mimos Berhad yang berperanan penting membantu negara menjana nilai tambah yang tinggi daripada aktiviti pembangunan dan pengkomersialan teknologi, khususnya dalam sektor E&E, elektrik dan elektronik. Sektor E&E merupakan penyumbang terbesar kepada ekspor negara dengan nilai sebanyak 455.7 bilion ringgit pada tahun 2021.
Located at about 15 kilometers from Bandar Malaysia, the Meranti Park will play a role in coordinating research and development R&D output to the market through an integrated ecosystem, which centralizes all technological and innovation activities locally. The review of grade A, B and C egg subsidies will be scrutinized in the Cabinet meeting tomorrow. According to the chairman of the Special Task Force on Jihad Against Inflation, Tan Sri Anwar Musa, it follows a decrease in the supply of eggs for the grade in question, in addition to producers restricting the production of eggs for the subsidized grade.
Daripada tinjauan kita mendapati ada kekurangan bekalan telur ini dan tinjauan menunjukkan kekurangan itu kerana subsidi 3 sen itu didakwa oleh pengeluar dan juga pengedar sebagai tidak cukup atraktif kerana kos mereka adalah lebih tinggi. Lalu apa yang dilakukan ialah mereka mengeluarkan lebih banyak telur yang tidak ada harga kawalan. Telur omega dan telur-telur yang lain, grade-grade yang lain, ya. Menyebabkan pengeluaran telur bagi grade kawalan menjadi berkurangan.
To date, the government has allocated 34 million ringgit per month for grade A, B and C eggs subsidy. In the meantime, Tan Sri Anwar said the application to add another 5 metric tons of subsidized cooking oil will be discussed tomorrow. This is to balance the current supply of cooking oil, or 60,000 metric tons. However, Tan Sri Anwar assures that the national cooking oil supply remains adequate. The Jualan Murah Keluarga Malaysia JMKM program is currently being implemented at 585 locations nationwide, reaching 92% of the government's implementation target. According to Tan Sri Anwar, the government aims to implement the programs at 639 locations.
Kita harap kita akan terus membuka lagi di beberapa kawasan yang belum melaksanakan program ini seperti mana yang kita matlamatkan bagi sebanyak 639 premis semua sekali.
Commenting on MDEX e-dagang sales program, Tan Sri Anwar said some 15 million Malaysians benefited from the program by receiving discounts, rebates and subsidies. About 241,000 traders also gained benefits, with the sales value reached 741.38 million ringgit. The Cabinet has agreed to ratify the Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for the Trans-Pacific Partnership CPTPP, and it is expected to come into force for Malaysia on 29 November 2022. Senior Minister of International Trade and Industry, MITI, Datuk Seri Muhammad Azmin Ali said the ratification of the CPTPP for Malaysia is considered complete, and the outcome from cost-benefit analysis study shows that Malaysia will enjoy more benefits through the enforcement of CPTPP than any costs that may arise.
Jemaah Menteri telah bersetuju supaya Malaysia meratifikasi perjanjian komprehensif dan progresif bagi perkongsian Trans-Pasifik atau dengan izin CPTPP. Berdasarkan mandat tersebut, kerajaan telah secara rasminya mengirim surat cara ratifikasi atau dengan izin Instrument of Ratification kepada depository CPTPP iaitu New Zealand pada 30 September 2022.
The Senior Minister was replying to Bukit Bendera MP Wong Hon Wai, who wanted to know the status of Malaysia's participation in the CPTPP and progress on other free trade agreements. Thailand mass shooting kills at least 34 at daycare centre. That more coming up in our foreign segment. A former police officer armed with a gun and a knife stormed a nursery in northeast Thailand, shooting dead at least 30 people, including children, before killing himself and his family. Police said the attacker, armed with a shotgun, a pistol and a knife, opened fire on the childcare centre in Nong Bua Lampu province at about 12:30 p.m. before fleeing the scene in a vehicle, the force said. Police Colonel Jakapat Vici Traitaya from the province where the attack happened identified the gunman as Panya Kamrab, a police lieutenant colonel he said was dismissed from the force last year for drug use. Jakapat said there were 23 children among the dead, aged 2 to 3 years old. The mass killing comes less than a month after a serving army officer shot dead 2 colleagues at a military training base in the capital Bangkok. While Thailand has high rates of gun ownership, mass shootings are extremely rare. But in the past year, there have been at least 2 other cases of shooting murders by serving soldiers, according to the Bangkok Post. Authorities brace for major floods in Australia's east after Sydney recorded its wettest year in 164 years, with more heavy downpours expected to fall over the next 3 days. With almost 3 months of 2022 still to go, the country's largest city already recorded earlier in the afternoon 2,213 millimetres of rain in a year. It was the first time total rainfall in Sydney surpassed the previous record of 2,194 millimetres set in 1950, since records began in 1858, official data showed. Nandini Ramesh, Senior Research Scientist at the Commonwealth Scientific and Industrial Research Organisation, said that the record is consistent with some of the things that were expected from climate change. More downpours are forecast for the rest of 2022 as Australia's east coast remains in the grip of a rare third straight year of the La Niña weather phenomenon. During the past 2 years, floods have struck Sydney's suburbs 3 times, forcing tens of thousands of people to flee their homes. Many dams and rivers are already at full capacity. The New South Wales state government has committed to raising the height of the wall at Sydney's Warragamba Dam, which supplies 80% of the city's water, to help prevent future floods. A military strike hit Zaporizhia city center in southeast Ukraine and destroyed residential buildings. Local authorities reported 2 dead in the aftermath. At least 2 people died and 5 others were missing in attacks on Ukraine's southeastern city of Zaporizhia. The region's governor said Thursday, blaming Russia for the strikes. The Ukrainian-controlled city is located in the eponymous Zaporizhia region, also home to the Russian-occupied nuclear plant that has been the site of heavy shelling. Moscow annexed the region this week despite not having full control of it. Earlier, Staruk posted a photo of a collapsed building with smoke still rising from the wreckage. He said there were 7 attacks fired by Russian forces at high-rise buildings. Last week, Ukraine said at least 30 people were killed after a convoy of civilian cars in the Zaporizhia region was shelled in an attack Kyiv blamed on Moscow. Putin on Wednesday finalized the annexation of 4 Ukrainian territories: Donetsk, Luhansk, Zaporizhia and Kherson. But the Kremlin is yet to confirm what area of those regions are being annexed. Ukraine's presidency said Thursday that over the past day, 14 people were killed in attacks in the Donetsk region. Having dodged most of the fuel-driven surge in inflation plaguing its neighbours, Switzerland is moving ahead with plans to boost its energy security and lock in tame power prices, but only reluctantly. Switzerland's focus on hydropower, which Energy Minister Simonetta Sommaruga calls the backbone of its electricity production, has helped shelter the country compared with others from soaring oil and gas costs. But it is far from immune. Sommaruga believes the Swiss have been woken up to a need to wean themselves off fossil fuels by the European power crisis since Russia's invasion of Ukraine, and by the risk of energy rationing in a worst-case scenario this winter. A successful pivot to a clean, independent energy supply, which the government is pursuing under its Energy Strategy 2050, promises to underpin Switzerland's position as a high-end economy at the heart of Europe with a safe haven currency. Hydropower accounts for some 60% of domestic electricity production, but electricity accounts for only a quarter of all Swiss energy sources, with petroleum products the biggest. As well as more hydropower, Schaffner would like a boost in wind and solar power. The snow's reflection in the Alps could allow double-sided photovoltaic units to harvest more energy. And in sports, relentless Forlan at the double as Man City crushed Copenhagen. Stay with us. Kuala Lumpur City FC KLCT achieved a historic feat for the club by qualifying for the AFC Cup final after edging Uzbekistan's PFC Sogdiana club 5-3 on penalties in an inter-zone final last night. The sensational victory will see coach Boyan Hodak's boys take on club Al Seep in the final on 22nd October after the Oman club thrashed Al Rifa from Bahrain 4-0 in another inter-zone final on Tuesday. In the match held at the Sogdiana Sporting Complex, KL goalkeeper Kevin Ray Mendoza emerged as a hero when he saved a number of dangerous strikes during the match and also saved a spot kick during the penalty shootout. He saved the second penalty taken by defender Shakbos Jurabekov. KL on the other hand, scored all 5 penalties through skipper Paulo Josue, Romel Morales, Mohammad Hadin Azman, Mohammad Akram Mahinan and Giancarlo Galifuoco. The City side becomes the second club side from Malaysia to make the final of an AFC Cup competition. 9-time Malaysian Super League champions Johor Darul Tazim JDT achieved a historic feat by becoming the first Malaysian club side to win the AFC Cup back in 2015 after beating Tajikistan's club Istiklal 1-0 in the final. Terengganu FC TFC head coach Nafuzi Zain has reminded his boys not to underestimate the ability of Melaka United FC, even though the latter are among the teams at the bottom rungs of the Super League. Instead, he wants his players to fully focus on preparing for the match against the Mouse Deer at the Hang Jebat Stadium, Melaka, tomorrow night. Elaborating further, Nafuzi said the Turtles can no longer drop points if they want to remain in the top 3 of the league, thus qualifying for the Asian Football Confederation AFC Cup next season. He said on paper it looks like TFC have an advantage over Melaka, but on the pitch anything can happen and it all depends on their own capabilities. The coach noted that to stay in the top 3, Terengganu needs to win and they can't expect other teams to lose to be safe. According to Nafuzi, he has not decided on the main 11 who will play tomorrow night because he wants to ensure that the squad fielded is suitable for the opponent's playing style. He said all the players are at the best level of fitness and are free from injury problems that could affect the team. The Turtles' import pillar, Kepa Sherman, has also returned from Liberia and is ready to play tomorrow night. And on to European football, Erling Haaland took his goal tally to an incredible 19 in all competitions this season, with another double in Manchester City's 5-0 demolition of FC Copenhagen in Champions League Group G. Haaland wasted no time in getting City going with yet another strike in his remarkable campaign, sweeping home an early opener before putting the game beyond the Danish side inside 32 minutes. City kept coming and added a third 6 minutes before the break as David Kocholava put through his own net, with Haaland lurking just behind in the hunt for his second treble in 4 days. There was to be no hat-trick for Haaland as he was withdrawn at half-time. But the goals kept coming as Riyad Mahrez slotted home a penalty before Julian Alvarez finished things off with a late fifth. The most comfortable of victories ensured City have taken a maximum 9 points in the group and need 2 more to be sure of a spot in knockout stages. Copenhagen are bottom on 1 point from 3 games. City have scored 20 goals in their last 5 games, all wins. A sign Pep Guardiola's team are hitting top gear. And wrapping up the news at 10 with a reminder of our top story. King and Premier meeting discusses matter of administration and government issues. Join us for more updates at 12:30 p.m. tomorrow. Till then, it's lights out. I'm Brendan Paul. Stay tuned to Solar and Berita RTM. Have a pleasant evening and take care.